Well, the NBA season kicked off last night with two very, very good games, including a double overtime thriller in OKC. We'll get into all that. Plus, since I didn't do it yesterday because I had technical issues, I'll give you my top five. My top five teams in both college football and in pro football. We're going to get into all that and maybe a little bit more. Big O with the big mouth here in the ozone. Greetings and salutations. And what's up? Big O with the big mouth coming at you in the Total Sports Ozone for October 22nd, 2025. Like I said, I'm only giving to my top five. Since I didn't do it yesterday, I had technical problems. So today is Power 5 Wednesday. I'm going to give you my Power 5 teams in both college football and pro football. But first, NBA season 25-26 season kicked off last night, and the OKC Thunder. It was banner night and ring night. They had some very big rings. I mean, them rings was like covering like 2 or 3 of their fingers, but they earned them. So to the victor goes the spoils. OKC Thunder kicked off their 2025-2026 season, defending their NBA championship by hosting the Houston Rockets, the new look Houston Rockets, with Kevin Durant added. And let me tell you, that game was a thriller. It was a thriller. The OKC Thunder came out on top with a 125-124 victory in double overtime over the Houston Rockets. And it was everything you would want to see in a season opener. Everything you want to see in it. Now I have to admit, I didn't see much of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander last season because I wasn't into the Thunder that much. But last night he showed me why he's the league MVP, especially in the fourth quarter and in overtime. He was unstoppable. He was literally unstoppable. For the first 3 quarters of that game, he was okay. But in the fourth quarter and in both overtimes, they couldn't do nothing with him. They could not do nothing with him. The only thing he did wrong in the fourth quarter and in the overtime, he missed a few free throws. That man scored 24 of his 35 points in the fourth quarter and in the overtime periods. He was the truth. I see why he's the reigning league MVP. They couldn't guard him. You tried to single guard him, he got that little stutter step, go right by you to the hole. You double guard him, he gonna do a shake, step back, and you hit the jumper. He has the mid-range jumper. He reminds me of a smaller DeMar DeRozan. He hits the mid-range. He's got that mid-range jumper, and there's nothing you can do about it. He was the truth in that fourth quarter and in the overtime. He literally put the team on his back to get them to win. He definitely put him on his back because he hit the 2 winning free throws in the second overtime session to give them the win after he fouled out Kevin Durant. Now, Shea Gillis ended up with 35 points, as you can see. Chet Holmgren, he wasn't a bad second banana. He dropped 28 points before he fouled out of the game. And Luka Dort, he was okay. Carson Wallace, they were okay. But like I said, the fourth quarter, that man was the truth. It was the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander show from the fourth quarter on. And he showed to me why the MVP. Now, for the Rockets, they acquitted themselves just fine, I thought, in the game. They acquitted themselves just fine. This guy, Alperen Sengun, he's going to be a problem. I'm telling you right now, that man is going to be a problem for other teams in the league. He dropped 39 points. And he made it look easy. They couldn't guard him. They tried. But he single guarded him, he'll just shoot right over him. He tried to double team him, he'll scoop right around it and find a way to get a layup. He couldn't be guarded either. Kevin Durant, he couldn't be guarded for most stretches. He only had 23 points, but it wasn't like he had to work hard to get those 23 points. However, Kevin Durant, if you want to blame the loss on Kevin Durant, I wouldn't mind you saying that. However, Kevin Durant did almost make a monumental boo-boo in this game in the first overtime. I don't know if any of y'all saw the game, but at the end of the first overtime, the score tied at 115. The Thunder was taking what they thought would be the last shot. And I think it was Williams that missed a wide open jumper. And Kevin Durant gets the rebound. And with about a second and a half left, he signals timeout. One problem with that. They didn't have any timeouts. The Rockets had no timeouts. Now, my conventional thinking is if a team calls timeout and they don't have one, that's a technical foul. Am I right or wrong? If a team that does not have a timeout signals for a timeout, that's a technical foul. Free throw for the other team, and I believe they get the ball. If that had happened, this game would have ended in the first overtime. Problem was, the refs didn't see him signal for a timeout. And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. 3 referees on that floor, and not one of them saw Kevin Durant signal for a timeout when they didn't have any? Come on now. You got to be kidding me. The crowd was incensed. I was like, are you kidding me? Even the announcers of the game was like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me nobody saw him signal for a timeout? Nope. And it was clear on the replay. He signaled for a timeout. But the refs did not see him, or so they claimed. And they let the clock run out, and we went to another overtime session. That game should have been over in the second overtime. It should have been over. But the refs missed the call. I don't know how 3 referees on the same end of the court missed that call, but it is what it is. But Shea Gillett, he didn't matter. Shea was like, okay, we'll do it in the second overtime. He took over. And he fouled out Kevin Durant, which put him on the line to hit the game-winning free throws and won the game. This is going to, let me tell you right now, the Houston Rockets are going to be a problem. Matter of fact, there's a lot of teams in the Western Conference that are going to be a problem. We're going to get into the other game in a minute. Lakers and the Warriors. But there are a lot of teams in the West that are going to be a problem. Not just the Thunder, not just the Rockets. I mean, the West is deep. You got the Timberwolves. You got the Denver Nuggets. You got the Warriors. You got the Lakers. You got, if they're healthy, the Dallas Mavericks. That's right there, 6 teams. That's 6 teams right there. And I ain't even said the Lakers and the Clippers. It's going to be a dogfight in the Western Conference all year long. It's going to be a huge dogfight. I don't know who's going to come out in the West. I honestly don't know. Because you got the Thunder, yes, they're a very young team, NBA champions, but they're now no longer the hunter. They are the hunted. So how's that going to play out for them as this long season gets going? But last night, very good start. Pulled out a hard-fought win in double overtime at home to give the fans a good night to celebrate their ring and the raising of the banner for the NBA champions. But I see these 2 teams knocking heads a lot this season. I believe they played 3 more times this season. They're gonna be a lot. They're gonna be a lot of close games. I bet you not one of those games will be further than the team winning by more than 5 points. When these two teams play, they are very good. The problem with the Rockets is no point guard. Their point guard, Fred VanVleet, I think he's out for a significant amount of time, if not the whole season, with an ACL tear. And they need a point guard. They need somebody that can bring that ball up. They tried Amen Thompson, and he had a plus minus of 11 with 18 points. So that's not going to get it done. And he also turned the ball over a little bit too much. He had four turnovers. The Rockets as a whole had 24 turnovers. It was amazing that the game went into double overtime when you turn the ball over that much. But that's the problem when you don't have a legitimate point guard. Amen Thompson, okay, he's okay as a backup, but as a starting point guard, the Rockets could have used VanVleet last night. Just to be able for ball security. They could have used him last night. But the Rockets, to their credit, they came to play. They came to play. A play here and a play there, or I would say a defensive stop here or there without fouling, the Rockets could have pulled that game out. But as such, like I said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he showed me why he's the MVP. He took over the game when he needed to. So, Rockets fall on this one. 125-124 double overtime. It was a great game. Great game. It was a great game to watch. The late game had the Warriors and the Lakers. Warriors pulled this one out 119-109. As I thought they would win it. The Lakers, no LeBron James. Yeah. I knew they were going to acquit themselves very well, but they have no rim protection. They lost their rim protection when they traded Anthony Davis to the Mavericks with Luka Doncic. They have nobody, no big men that can protect that rim. And it showed. The Warriors, as old as they were getting lobs to the basket, getting easy layups. Steph Curry, easy layups. Jimmy Butler, easy layups. The Lakers, they tried. Luka Doncic almost had a triple-double. 43 points with 10 threes. He had 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. He tried. And he looks better. You know, there was so much issue with Luka Doncic about his weight. It looked like he slimmed down a little bit. It looked like he lost at least 10, 15 pounds. And he looks good. But it wasn't enough. And the reason why it wasn't enough, no rim protection. You know, the Lakers don't have that big man. DeAndre Ayton is not your prototypical big man. He's more like a power forward than a center. And in my eye, DeAndre Ayton is a power forward. He's not a true center. And it showed. And it shows last night. Austin Reeves, he had a decent game. And Hachimura, he hit a couple of big shots. But in the end, if they don't have that rim protector, I don't see the Lakers getting out of the Western Conference. Do I think the Lakers are a playoff team? Yes. If LeBron James come back healthy, him and Luka, they're on the same page. Yes, they are. They will be in the playoffs. But do I think they're gonna win the championship? Not until they got to get some protection at the rim, and they don't have that right now. And I'm not sure who they're gonna do what they're gonna do to get that. But if they thought DeAndre Ayton was the answer, no, he's not. Like I said, I think DeAndre Ayton is more of a power forward than a center. He can play center with smaller lineups. He'll be just fine if he's playing a center, if you're playing against a team that's relatively small. But against a big team like the Warriors, and yes, the Warriors have a big team. Their front line goes, 6'8", 6'10", 6'9". So they're a big team. And with no rim protection, it was like Lob City. It was like getting lobs to the rims all the time. And you add that with Steph Curry still being Steph Curry. It's a problem for the Lakers. The Lakers going to have a problem with the Warriors all season. It showed last night. Now, I know people can say, oh, they didn't have LeBron. I don't think LeBron would have helped. I know LeBron would have helped with the scoring, but with the defense, he's not that defensive prowess he is now 40 years old. He's not that defensive stalwart that he was when he was 25, 30. So the Lakers could have definitely used a rim protector in this game. They probably would have been able to pull it out. But as such, Warriors, who are, I believe, the oldest team, who has the oldest starting five in the league. I mean, Al Horford's 39. And I believe Steph Curry's 35. Jimmy Butler's 37. They have the oldest starting five in the league. But don't let the boys get on the roll. And don't let them stay healthy. They're going to be a problem. Like I said, there's a lot of teams out west that are going to be problems for the rest of the NBA. The West is that deep. I think they go 8 deep. 7, 8 teams deep. Any one of 7 to 8 teams that they get on the right roll could come out of the West. The West is that deep. It showed last night. The West is going to be an utter dogfight for most of the season. But last night, Warriors get the opening season dub over the Lakers, 119-109. It was a good game, though, up until the fact that Steph Curry said, my turn, and put the game away. So those were the 2 games last night to open the NBA season. Now, I never really was able to preview the NBA like I wanted to, but I'm going to say it like this. The West, like I said, goes 7, 8 teams deep. Got the Thunder, the Rockets, Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Mavericks, and the Clippers. Any one of those 8 teams, I believe. And don't forget the Spurs. Spurs are coming up too. A couple of young players. If Wembanyama can stay healthy, don't sleep on the Spurs either. All the 3 Texas teams, Rockets, Mavericks, Spurs, if they stay healthy, they can do some damage. Oh yeah. We ain't talked about the Memphis Grizzlies. We haven't talked about them. They can do some damage too. The Western Conference is as deep as I've ever seen it be in at least 30 years. That's how deep the Western Conference is. Any one of 8, 9 teams can go on a run and come out of the Western Conference to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to sit here and say the Thunder are going to walk through everybody to the back to repeating as NBA champions. I can't say that yet. I got to see these other teams in action. The Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Mavericks when they're healthy. I want to see the Lakers when they're fully healthy. There's another question. Can LeBron and Luka coexist? We saw them to the end of last year. It was a little shaky. Have they worked that out over this offseason to be able to coexist at the same time on the court? The only advantage with the Lakers and LeBron can rest more now that they got Luka. Luka can take the scoring load off of LeBron easily. No problem. So that'll let LeBron do a lot more resting over this long season. But again, what's their chemistry going to be looking like on the court? That's my question. That's my eye for the Lakers. I can't call the Lakers a legitimate championship contender. A, I need to see the chemistry. B, they need a rim protector. The Oklahoma City Thunder, as long as nobody on their core group gets hurt, they're going to be right there again. They're young, athletic. They play defense. They can lock you up. And Shea is just Shea. Shea is the truth. I didn't see him much last year, but he is the truth. Trust me. And Chet Holmgren, I've always thought that if he put about 10 pounds on them bones, he can be all right. It seems like he don't need them. He can do just fine the way he is now, as long as he stays healthy. But what about those Timberwolves? Anthony Edwards. What about the Denver Nuggets? As long as Joker's on the squad, they're always going to have a chance. Nikola Jokic. So you got a lot of teams. And I didn't even speak about the Clippers. I ain't speak about them. I ain't speak about the Memphis Grizzlies. Because I think those two teams are probably on the lower. Those going to be the teams that's going to be fighting in the play-in tournament. I believe. The Clippers, the Grizzlies, maybe even the Pelicans if they can, for once in their life, stay healthy. They might be in the play-in, but we got the Western Conference is truly the deepest conference of the two. There's no doubt about that. You just have to see to believe. And you saw a little bit of that last night if you watched those games. So, NBA season is off and running. We got a bunch of games tonight. I think everybody else plays tonight. So, the NBA season is off and running. Big O with the big mouth here in the Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's flip it up. Got to get to the NFL. Got to do my Power 5. I usually do it on Tuesday, but I wasn't here. So I'll do it today. My Power 5 NFL teams for Week 7. Number 5. I flipped a coin on this because you got to look at the NFC West where there's 3 teams that are 5-2. 3 teams in the NFC West that are 5-2. So I said to myself, which one of these teams is on the uptick? Which one of these teams are swinging up further than the other two? And my answer to that question was the LA Rams. So I got the LA Rams as my number 5 team this week in my Power 5. They just went over the seas and kicked the Jaguars, you know what? Matthew Stafford, Couture, they got a squad. You don't think, you look at them like, they don't look like they can play. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You have to look at the Rams and study and see how they pick apart a defense. They almost beat the Eagles. Wow, by picking their defense apart. Matthew Stafford he's like a surgeon out there. You give that man time to throw, it's a bad day for you. It's a bad day for you. And their defense is slowly but surely rounding into shape. Their defense doesn't have to be elite. It just has to be adequate. With that offense and Matthew Stafford being a surgeon out there, I like the Rams. So I got the Rams as number 5 team this week in my Power 5 for the NFL. Number 4. I flipped the coin on this one. There's a lot of good teams out there in the NFC that could be this, but I picked, and number 4, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I told you. Didn't I tell you? I told you. I don't know if you've been paying attention to my podcast, but I told you, don't sleep on the Chiefs. As long as they got Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid calling the shots, you bet not ever sleep on the Chiefs. Now look at them. They got their full squad back. Rasheed Rice is back from suspension. Xavier Worthy back from injury. Travis Kelce. Pacheco. Even Kareem Hunt getting a little run in. Chiefs are going to be a problem. I know they're sitting at 4-3, but don't you think that's going to stay that way? The Chiefs are going to be a problem. Y'all better get used to it. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be a problem. I guarantee it. They got my number 4 ranking this week in the NFL, my Power 5. Number 3, you know what? As much infighting as they've been doing, as much infighting, you know what? I wanted to put the Eagles at number 3. I'm not gonna put them at number 3. They're too much infighting for a team that's 5-2. We can get into that later. But my number 3 team, I'm gonna put the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, the Seattle Seahawks. They just find ways to win games, especially at home. They're tough to beat at home. And they've been picking off teams on the road. Picked off the Steelers, they picked off the Jaguars. It's not like this team is no slouch. They've only lost 2 games and one at the end at home to Tampa Bay. So it's not like this team is no slouch. I like it. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he stays healthy, he's well on his way to being the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Jackson Smith and Jigba. He just catches anything that comes near him. He just catches anything that comes anywhere near him. He catches it. I got the Seahawks as my number 3 team this week. Number 2, Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions. They rebounded very well from that loss to Kansas City and just beat up on the Tampa Bay Bucks. What was it, 24-9? This team is loaded. I mean, like I said, I believe I said this before about the Detroit Lions. It's how do you want to lose today? Do you want us to run the ball down your throat, or do you want us to throw it all over the air on you? They can pick. It's a pick the poison with the Detroit Lions. The defense is top 10, and they don't even need to be with that offense. With that offense scoring the way they want to. I mean, they run the ball on you, or they can throw it on you. They got Gibbs, they got Montgomery, they got Amon-Ra State Brown, they got Laporte. They got weapons all over that offense. I mean, Jared Goff, he has to be smiling every day, knowing all the weapons that he got at his disposal. Like I said, it's pick your poison. How do you want to lose today? Do you want us to run it down your throat, or do you want us to throw it all over your head? It's up to you. I think that's what the Detroit Lions be telling the other team. How you want to lose? It's up to you. We'll let you call it. And they've been kicking ass. That's what they've been doing. I got Detroit as my number 2 team. But the number 1 team this week in my Power 5, Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, Taylor. Taylor's going to be in the mix for AFC Offensive Player of the Year, if not MVP. And Daniel Jones, you would never thought you would hear me or anybody else say that. He's a leading MVP candidate. This team, they play fundamentally sound. They don't make too many mistakes. And they just got power at the running back position. And Daniel Jones, I don't know what got into him. I really don't. I don't know what did the ball turn on in his head, or did he just get with the right coaching staff that work on his development? Because I don't think anybody saw this coming from Daniel Jones. He's having an MVP type season easily, and their defense is so opportunistic. You turn that ball over on them, and I believe that fourth in the league in turnovers created. You turn that ball over on them, they're going to make you pay. Every time you do, they make you pay. That defense is about as opportunistic as I've seen in a while. And with that offense, 6-1. Can't argue with the results. You cannot argue with the results at all. They went out, beat a very good Chargers team in their house. So that showed me, yeah, they deserve and are the number one team in my rankings as of week 7. They earned it and they deserve it. So now, like what my man Stephen A. Smith would say, this list is fluid. Yeah, this list can be fluid. You can add or subtract people, add or subtract teams from this list all you want. But that's my 5 for this week. That's my 5 for this week. Number 5, the LA Rams. Number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. And my number 1 team, the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think? Did I make a mistake somewhere? Hit me up with a comment. And please like and subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, like the content, if you like what I'm hearing, let me know. If you like what I'm saying, or even if you don't like what I'm saying, let me know. But please hit the like and subscribe. I totally would appreciate it. This is Big O with the big mouth in the Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's move over to college football. Got to do a Power 5 in my college football, too. This is not the first 2 is easy. The next 3, number 1 and number 2, easy. 3, 4, and 5, you can mix them all over the place. But here's my top 5 for week 8. Number 5, I got the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes, the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, they rebounded from losing to Alabama, and they're beating everybody they're supposed to beat. My problem with the Georgia Bulldogs, though, is they're not as good defensively as they used to be. They used to have one of the best defenses going. But it seems like, letting teams score on them at a little bit of a alarming rate. Ole Miss put up 35, and they should have won the game. But Georgia did what they needed to do. That's what Georgia does. Georgia is the team that hang around. They hang around. They hang around. Next thing you look up, they won the game. And you wonder how the hell did they do that? That's Georgia Bulldogs this year. They've done it to so many teams. They make you think, you think you got Georgia beat. Because they not playing up to their potential. But they hang around. And they hang around. And they hang around. And they hang around. Next thing you know, you look up, they done won the game. They did that to Tennessee. They did that to Auburn. They did that to Ole Miss. That's what they do. They hang around. Wait till you mess up enough. And they come back and win the game. That's why I got them at my number 5 team this week. Number 4, I'm going to say Texas A&M, even though Arkansas gave them a whole of a push for their money. But 7-0 is 7-0. So, and in the SEC, that's saying something. So you can't really fault them for playing a substandard game against the Arkansas Razorbacks. But 7-0 is 7-0. But they better get it right. They got 2 hard games coming up, both on the road, LSU and at Missouri. And they still got that bugaboo at the end of the season against Texas. I like A&M's defense. Their offense can be better. I think their offense can be better with their quarterback. Reed, they need to be better. Now they're going up against LSU, who's offensively challenged. It is what it is. They're offensively challenged. But they are playing in the Valley. For me to be sold, I got them at number 4 this week. But for me to keep them in my Power 5, these are games they got to show me they can win. Yeah, I know they won on the road in Notre Dame. But this is a conference game on the road. I know you beat Arkansas, but Arkansas ain't a good team. And there's a reason why they fired the coach, and that's why Bobby Petrino is the interim coach. So they're not a really good team. Show me you can beat a ranked team, conference ranked team, on the road. I said that about Ole Miss last week. They spit the bit. That's why they are not in my top 5 this week. Now, A&M, your turn. Show me that you can beat a top ranked team from your conference on the road. I got you at number 4 this week, A&M. Let's see if you stay there. Number 3, Alabama. That was easy. Alabama. You cannot, even though they lost the game, and even though that loss is looking more and more uglier, the worse that Florida State has gotten. But that was at the beginning of the season. Way at the beginning of the season. I don't even think it's really relevant now. I mean, whatever wrongs that Alabama had, they righted them and then some. You cannot deny beating 4 consecutive games, winning 4 consecutive games against ranked teams, all in your conference, even 2 of them on the road. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that success. That's why I have him at number 3. Coach DeBeer has done a wonderful job turning this team around because everybody had Alabama left for dead after losing to Florida State. I don't know what DeBeer did. He blocked out all that noise, all that talk, all that smack they was talking about them, and they went to work. And you got Kyle Simpson. I believe he's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And why not? He has been unstoppable in these last 4 games. Even when Alabama has been down, it doesn't shake them. And the defense, look what they did against Tennessee. The defense makes game-changing plays. Like the game against Tennessee. Tennessee's in the red zone, going for a touchdown that could shrink the lead down to 2, and all of a sudden, boom, a 99-yard pick 6 going the other way. That's an opportunistic defense, and it's getting better and better. So I have to put Alabama number 3, even though they got a loss. That loss is irrelevant now. I don't even think about that loss. I know it might look bad for the committee, but why? All these teams Alabama done won, beaten, ranked teams? Forget the Florida State loss. Who cares? Florida State ain't going nowhere. Don't worry about. Let's put it like this: if Florida State and Alabama played right now, do you think Florida State would win? I don't. I think they get their asses handed to them, and then some. So I don't even worry about the Florida State loss. Nah, it's irrelevant. At this stage of the game, Florida State's going way down. Alabama's going way up. So that loss was irrelevant. I got Alabama as my number 3 team this week in college football. Number 2, Indiana. They just keep rolling. They just keep rolling along, beating teams. They have the most impressive win to date in the Big Ten, going on the road to beat Oregon. That is the most impressive win to date. And Mendoza is a Heisman Trophy. Let's face it, he is a Heisman Trophy favorite. Kirk Cignetti, if he does not win Big Ten coach, if they keep rolling, he should be a shoo-in repeat for Big Ten Coach of the Year, if not National Coach of the Year. Indiana is that good. I wasn't sold on them for most of this year, but if you go on the road to be Oregon and you don't have a letdown after that, I gotta put you up there in my top 5. I mean, they could have easily had a letdown, and could you have blamed them? They could have easily had a letdown in this game, playing at home against Michigan State, and it looked like early in the game that it was heading for a letdown. Mendoza and Signetti said, "Nah, we ain't having that." Touchdown, bam, touchdown, bam, running touchdown, bam. Game over. This Indiana team is legit. If you don't know it by now, you better watch them. You better Google them. You better look at them. You look at them sternly. They coming. I never thought I'd say that about Indiana in football, but they coming. People better watch out. And my number 1 team, yes, you can call it bias. You can call it whatever. It's still Ohio State. They're still the number 1 team on my Power 5. Why? Does anybody look better on defense? Has anybody played better on defense? Nope. And I told you guys, I said it right here on my show. I said, if Julian Sand figures it out with the defense that Ohio State brings, I don't think anybody can beat him. At home, on the road, on the neutral field, on the moon, on Jupiter, nobody can beat this team if Julian Sand figures it out. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He just figured it out to the tune where he's played himself into the Heisman Trophy conversation. Yes, he has. He leads the nation in completion percentage, just under 79%. Has 19 touchdowns, only 3 picks. Those are numbers that can get you looked at from the Heisman Committee, don't you think? Plus, he has 2 weapons. I mean, come on. He has weapons all over. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Ennis. He loves his tight ends. The running back, that's the only thing about Ohio State's game that gives me cause for concern is their lack of a rushing attack. They need to improve that, especially when we're getting into them cold weather times. And they need to be able to run the ball just to control the clock. But I think their running game will get better as the rest of the second half of the season progresses. But with that defense giving up just a smidgen under 6 points a game, how can you not say Ohio State? You can tell me all, they haven't played nobody. They don't play that. And whose fault was that? They played Texas, beat them. They played Illinois in Illinois. They were ranked top 20. Beat them. And it is not their fault that Penn State fell off the cliff. It's not their fault. Because they would have beat them anyway, whether they were ranked or not. Because Penn State don't know how to beat Ohio State. They don't know. They don't know how to beat them. So it wouldn't have mattered if they were ranked or not. Ohio State, there's not another game on Ohio State's current schedule that worries me except the last one. The game. That team up north. Because it's a rivalry game. You throw records and stats out the window when you're playing your rivalry. That's with any rivalry. That's with any rivalry. You throw stats and records out the window when you're playing your rivalry. So, that's the only game I'm worrying about. But Ohio State's number 1 for a reason. Ain't nobody beat them yet. And they have the best defense in the land. Until one of those 2 things fall off the wayside, I know Indiana has the more quality win. But Ohio State has the best defense. Period. They have the best defense. And they beat number 1. They beat Texas. They beat number 1. It ain't their fault that the national pundits and the voters and the critics had anointed Texas as the next best thing and Arch Manning. It ain't their fault. He just went out there and beat them. Ohio State's the number one. So that's my Power 5 for this week of Week 8, ending Week 8. Got Georgia, number 5. You got Texas A&M at number 4. You got Alabama at number 3. You got Indiana at number 2. And the Ohio State Buckeyes as number 1. What do you think? I know some of y'all might not agree with Ohio State. You might flip Ohio State and Indiana. Okay. But what do you really think? So hit me up. Hit me up with a comment, like and subscribe. What do you think? Do you have another team that should be in the Power 5? Or do you keep stand pat? Let me know what you think. Hit me up. Big O with the big mouth in the Total Sports Ozone here. Now, let's talk a little bit Major League Baseball. We got the World Series coming up Friday. The Toronto Blue Jays against the LA Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers are looking for that rare repeat. They'll be the first team to repeat as baseball champions, World Series champions, since I believe the New York Yankees did it back in 97, 98. Or 98, 99, 2000. Can they do it? Can the Dodgers repeat? I think they can. Hey, they got the best team money can buy. They should be able to repeat. But don't sleep on Toronto, especially with Toronto having a home field advantage. They had home field advantage in the last series. Lost the first 2 games to Seattle. Didn't matter. Doesn't matter. They got a strong team. Springer and Guerrero with the pitching staff that they got. Bieber and Brent. They got a strong team. Toronto Blue Jays have a very strong team, but this is the Dodgers. I mean, Ohtani is a beast. I mean, he's a simple, outright beast. It's like, what do you do with him? He can hit the home runs and he can strike out the pitchers, strike out the batters. What do you do with him? I mean, his last game to close out the Milwaukee Brewers, he struck out 10 and hit 3 home runs. I mean, talk about he was by far the MVP of the National League Championship, and he had a lousy series. That's the thing. I think he had a lousy series up until that game 4. Up until that game 4, he had a lousy series. He was striking out left, right, and this and that. But when he put him on the mountain, when the lights got the brightest, Ohtani delivered on both ends, pitching and hitting. Along, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Betts, Muncy, who I like because he's always coming clutch in the postseason, and Teoscar Hernandez. This team is deep and they're loaded. I don't know. I really don't know who can come out on top of this World Series. My heart's leaning the Dodgers because they just got the deeper roster. I think they have the deeper roster, and they've been here. You know, they ain't new to this. They're true to this. They've been here. They've won what? They won what? 3 out of the last 5 World Series or something like that. So they're not like they're new to this. They're true to this. But Toronto has home field. And they're strong at home. They are strong at home. And they got home field for a reason. Pitching. They can pitch their ass off, especially after they got Shane Bieber. They do enough pitching, especially that bullpen. That bullpen holds you down. If they can get to the bullpen with the lead, they're in good shape. Like in the game that sent them to the World Series. Game 7. The bullpen held the Mariners to 3 runs, and held them there. Didn't let them get no more. Made some great defense. Was backed up by some great defensive plays. Held them there, and then that big home run by Springer, and they held them off the board for the rest of the game. So I like the Blue Jays pitching in the bullpen, but I gotta go with the Dodgers. I mean, good Lord, how that lineup, and if that lineup is just strong, and Yamamoto, Otani, these guys, I don't see how Toronto's going to get over all this. I don't know. But I have to take the Dodgers, and I like the Dodgers in 6. I think it'll go 6 games. I think they'll split first 2 in Toronto, and then Toronto will win 1. Yeah, they'll win 1 in LA, probably game 4. And then the Dodgers will win the next 2 games to win the series in 6 and repeat as world champions. That's how I see it. How do you see it? Who you think is going to win the World Series? I got the Dodgers. I'm sorry, Toronto fans. I'm sorry. But I got to go with experience, and I got to go with depth. And the Dodgers have both experience and depth. So that's how I see the 2025 World Series shaking out. I see the Dodgers winning this series in 6. If you see it differently, let me know. Let me know. Hit me up with a comment. Let me know how you feel about the World Series. Well, at the end, let me get to the end of this. As I say, the NBA, everybody else plays tonight. You got 2 big good games going to be on tonight. The Cavs, Cleveland Cavaliers heading to Madison Square Garden to take on Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. And you got Wembyana and the Spurs heading to Dallas to play the Mavericks. These are 2 good games to start the season, but everybody else plays tonight. I'm going to give you who I think is going to win the NBA championship. And some of y'all probably think, oh, he's Cavs fan. No, I don't. Cavs got to show me something. The Cleveland Cavaliers have to show me something. They have gotten better as over the last 4 or 5 years. No doubt about it. They've gotten better. Last year was a surprise. Surprised me as far as how many wins they had. 64 wins. But they flaming out in the second round 2 years in a row. They got to show me that they could take the next step. I know the Cavs going to make the playoffs, but I can't pick them as NBA champions. I would love to, but I can't because they got to show me they can take that next step. The last 2 years, they were flamed out in the second round, and the East is not that deep. The Eastern Conference is not that deep. Everybody in the Eastern Conference has questions. Everybody. Little Knicks, little Bucks, little Sixers, little Magic, little Miami Heat. Everybody in the Eastern Conference, Boston Celtics, there are question marks. How the Celtics, how are they going to deal with not having Jason Tatum for most of, if not all, of the season? And they retooled their roster a little bit. Porzingis is gone. Al Horford gone. How are they going to respond? Can Jaylen Brown handle the load? The Sixers. Can Embiid play a full season? The Knicks. Are they too small to deal with the rough and tough teams who got big men in the middle? We'll find out. The Bucks. Who's going to help? Who on that team is going to help Giannis Antetokounmpo on the scoring? I don't know. The Magic. Can they stay healthy? That's their problem. Health. Can they stay healthy? Oh, let's not forget the Detroit Pistons. Can they find enough offense when it matters? They play a little bit defense, but can they find enough offense when it matters? Don't know. Don't know. I have no clue. But we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. NBA season kicks off in earnest tonight. Well, that'll do it for today's Total Sports Ozone. Big O with the big mouth. Tomorrow, we're gonna preview the Thursday night football game. I believe it's the Steelers. Oh, I forgot who was playing Thursday night. We'll find out. But Thursday night game is. Let's find out who the Thursday night game is. Will be the Minnesota Vikings at the Chargers. We'll preview that tomorrow. Plus, I'm gonna preview. I'm gonna let you know who I think is my top 5 in my Heisman watch. Plus, we'll go over some NBA action from tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow, right here in the Ozone.